has accomplished to this point. Whether you're promoting from one grade to the next, graduating from high school, or completing college, you should celebrate this accomplishment. No matter how big or small it may seem, achieving a goal is always worthy of celebration. In celebrating this moment, however, you have to keep it in its proper place. Your current achievement is one more step on a path to reaching your ultimate goal, or at least it should be. Your best moments should never be in the past, nor should they be in the present, because you should always be in the process of achieving more. If you find yourself constantly referring to past achievements, you need to dream bigger. People often say that the best years of your life are in high school. If you live to be 80 and you peak at 18, does that mean that the next 62 years are just going downhill? I sincerely hope not. Each of us today has a vision of what we want to accomplish or who we want to be. You may want to become a doctor, an entrepreneur, a pastor, or a football player. These are examples of long-term goals, but not all goals fall into this category. In the near future, you may have a goal of being a drum major and making a varsity squad. But regardless of the goal or the time frame you have to achieve it, there are some basic rules that apply. Goal setting, as well as any associated accomplishments, if they will be successful, must be rooted in God's will. Therefore, I want to focus on two passages of Scripture. First, Ecclesiastes 9:11, and secondly, 1 Corinthians 9:24. For the remaining time I will spend speaking to you, I want to examine more closely the meaning of these passages. Ecclesiastes 9:11 says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happening through them all. Ecclesiastes 9 reveals a number of characteristics that many of you will identify with. First is the swift. One might assume that the swiftest person automatically wins the race. But is swiftness in isolation enough to guarantee victory in a race? As it is written, the swift does not win a race simply because he's swift. A swift person throws his or herself into things based upon impulse. Undoubtedly, you know someone like this. It may be a bandwagon fan for the latest hot team, or it could be the cousin who has a new business idea every month that they want to invest your money in. These are individuals who can never stick to anything because they burn out quickly. In the search for greatness, they are consistently looking for a shortcut to the finish line. I have news for you. There is no free lunch. When you pursue your goals, guard against making knee-jerk decisions based upon your feelings at the moment. Instead, make goals that will withstand the test of time. The second characteristic mentioned is that of strength. The strong person has a natural ability greater than average. It can be a person born with great looks, a fellow student that does not have to study to get good grades, or a person who folks are naturally drawn. In any area of life, you will find people who have talents. The beauty of God's grace is that He has given gifts to everyone, and consequently, we will always find people who possess abilities that differ from our own. But strength is not enough to reach your goals. If you are waiting to achieve based on being better than others, you will be sorely disappointed. There will always be those who are more talented than you. In fact, you should question your environment if you find yourself the best in everything you do. It means you are not challenging yourself or surrounding yourself with people who can challenge you to be better. There's a story that Robert Kennedy, the former Attorney General under President John F. Kennedy, was working hard against organized crime in the country. One night he was driving home when he saw that one of the mobsters he was trying to put away was awake, working. He immediately turned around and went back to his office to work. He understood what you must understand now. reaching your goals will require hard work and determination. No matter how naturally talented you are, you have to combine work with your gifts to have a chance of reaching your goals. The third characteristic mentioned is wisdom. Wisdom is always upheld as a favorable trait. Wisdom is the experience and knowledge to make good decisions. While it is important, the scripture tells us that wisdom will not provide food. Many of us are content to sit around on the sidelines, paralyzed by wisdom, to the point where we cannot act. Sometimes we let other people's experiences stop us from living life. I remember being in high school, applying to college, and it came out I was not applying to any schools in South Carolina. There were many people who were flabbergasted by this decision. To people outside of my family, it made little sense not to stay in state, let alone have a safety school. While I appreciated their intentions, their experiences were not my own and did not fit my goals. At some point, as my great-grandmother used to say, every tub has to stand on its own bottom. That means that while you can always take advice and hear what people have to say, you have to make your own decisions. Do not let other people's fears and judgments cloud your goals. Take wise counsel from the right people, but make your own decisions. Ecclesiastes mentions yet another type of individual. The scripture states that riches will not come simply because you are a man of understanding. Put another way, just because you are educated does not guarantee that you will be rich. Let me be very clear. There is nothing wrong with making money. Biblically, a man who does not work should not eat. And so long as you are not doing anything illegal or unethical, never let anyone make you feel bad because you want to make money. But in the pursuit of your livelihood, do not make the mistake of believing that if you receive an education, wealth is bound to occur. Use your education and training to pursue your goals. Finally, there are men of skill. Just because you are skilled does not mean that favor will follow. A skill is developed through hard work, which differs from talent. But the opportunities to showcase those skills do not necessarily always exist. Here's a real example that's close to home. Many of you are aware of the corridor of shame, a stretch along the I-95 interstate populated with dilapidated schools and great poverty. That contrasts heavily with the schools of Richmond, where smart boards are considered to be obsolete. The resource disparity is enormous, but the gap in opportunities is even wider. No matter what skills students in Dillon County may have, the opportunity to showcase them will be diminished compared to those in Richmond County. The reality of the situation highlights the truth of this passage. Time and chance happen to us all. Your goals will require favor, specifically God's favor, to come to fruition. If you're serious about achieving your goals, you will need to understand 1 Corinthians 9:24, which states, "Do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may attain it." Understand that no matter what your dreams may be, you are not the only one seeking. And even if you are, you will not receive the prize simply for entering the race. There is no participation reward. In order to realize your personal goals, you must go after it with everything you have. You must be relentless. You cannot simply survive your way to success. You must endure. You must fall in love with the process of becoming great. There is a distinction between surviving and enduring. Surviving is about getting by. Endurance is about becoming better. When I was a freshman in college, one of my 5 roommates was a British student named Albany. He used to say, as long as you're getting C's, it doesn't matter. He had the luxury of surviving because he was extremely wealthy. The ambitious do not have such comfort. When you run the race in such a way that you obtain the prize, you will have much to endure. Endurance is a process that all of us must go through as we face trials and tribulations to become better. If you have not had the chance to read the book of Job, I encourage you to do so. Job is a story of a devout believer who God allowed Satan to test. Although God had blessed Job with family, friends, wealth, and health, Satan was allowed to strip all of these things away to see if Job truly would hold firm to his faith. Job endured these tests without wavering his faith in God and was rewarded with greater family, wealth, and health than before. The moral of the story is not simply to endure, but to understand the purpose of tests. Trials and tribulations come from God and should be viewed as an opportunity to grow and develop. And whatever you do, you will face obstacles. What each of us will endure is different, but necessary. In the days to come, you will face trusted friends who will fail you. You will face a professor who will seem impossible to please. You will feel alone because no one will understand what you're trying to do. There will be times when money is tight. Recognizing these tests will lead to growth spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Endurance is about not just going through the process, but standing up and being strong before it. So what does this all mean to you? It means that each of you need to get ready for the challenges that are coming. Remember not to judge yourself based upon where others are, but based upon where you have been and where you are going. The challenge you face in enduring your race is to be better today than you were yesterday, and to work diligently toward your goals. And while you may not be the swiftest, the strongest, the wisest, the smartest, or most skilled, with endurance, you will succeed. Although you cannot accomplish everything, you can accomplish anything. Now to the parents of those of you in supportive roles. You also have a specific charge. In the pursuit of the dream, you will often play the role of a cheerleader, a financier, a counselor, a disciplinarian, and a spiritual teacher. You will often be the unsung hero of the team. But understand that you are not running the race. In your pursuit to see your children become great, be mindful that your vision of their path may not always coincide with their vision for themselves. Remember that the ultimate prize in the race is not money, status, power, or some other physical manifestation. It is greatness, and many roads lead to it. An example close to my heart is my own mother. She was growing up, she was told that she should become a doctor. A noble sentiment, but ultimately an example of parents imposing a vision on a child. While she went on to earn a degree in chemistry, medical school was not in God's plan for her, nor was it her path to greatness. But through diligence, hard work, and a lot of prayer, my mother continues to reach the checkpoints in her own race. She saw a vision for herself that her family was unable to see. Not for lack of love, but for lack of vision. Students, do not take this as permission to throw away wise counsel. Remember, Proverbs 12:15 says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice." In the same sense, many of us are where we are today because someone else had a vision for us when we were too blind to see. While you coach your children to run hard in the race, be comfortable on the sidelines as they reach the finish line of their own. Thank you.